I had absolutely no idea yesterday when I recorded that video that I was going to walk into my comic book store and see this book that I have before me, Bring on the Bad Guys, Green Goblin. I did not expect to see this there. And I picked up the book knowing nothing about it. You know what? This is what I've figured out. I would much rather go into the comic book store having no idea what's coming and be completely surprised at what I see. I've had more luck doing that. When I research in advance and I know every book that's coming out and I go into the comic book store, what I found is I'm typically disappointed. I've read too much about the book. I know too much. My hopes are built up. I get the book and then I'm like, eh, not really what I was expecting. This was unexpected. I've been out of the loop as far as keeping abreast on everything coming out. I try to keep up to date on comic book news, but this was good. This was really good. I don't know what Marvel is working right now with Mephisto, but they got something going that's really well. So the creative team on this, the writers are Ethan Parker and Griffin Sheridan. I don't know much about them. Matteo Della Fonte, an Italian artist who did very good. I'm going to show you his Instagram page and some of the art on his page just to show you his technical ability. I'm really impressed by the Italians. The colorist is Mattia Iacono, and the letterer, VC's Travis Lehman or Lanham. Man, couldn't get that out. Yo, liked it. Really liked this book. I enjoyed every minute of it. And it really captured, now I'm not a horror guy. And of course, when Mephisto is involved, it is a little more horror based, but it was overall done very well. Kind of a slasher, and it kind of tells a beginning. You get that beginning story of the Green Goblin, but you don't really, how can I put this? You don't get the story fully laid out. So obviously earlier this week on Monday, I released my origin video of the Green Goblin, again having no idea that this book was coming out this week. But this book alludes to that origin, but doesn't tell you the complete story. So if you're going to pick this book up and you don't know anything about Green Goblin, before you pick it up, watch my video, Origin of the Green Goblins, 3 minutes, really concise, doesn't cover everything, but it covers the most important parts that would clue you into what's going on when you read the story. The way they factored in Mephisto with the Norman Osborn story and him being forced to kill someone, him being forced to pretty much sell his own son out, sell his soul, sell his own son out. And they have a very interesting plot going on. So here's the plot. The Soul Forge is an ancient artifact that can give whoever gains access to it control over all souls on Earth. The forge can only be utilized after a sacred incantation is delivered along with the souls of descendants from an ancient cult known as the Lords of Darkness. Whoever gains access to the Soul Forge puts the fate of the souls of the entire planet in danger. As Mephisto and his reluctant disciple, Sister Sorrow, aim to power the forge, villains from throughout recent history are called upon to deliver the souls required. And this, again, goes into a little bit of the origin story of the Green Goblin, again, not in detail. And from that, you figure out how Mephisto is involved, how Mephisto, in Norman's pretty much selling his soul, selling his son out, he was able to achieve the status he achieved through that deal he made with Mephisto. And you see the internal struggle of Norman Osborn, and you see that a beast within him, the Green Goblin, and it's let out. And wow, like I don't typically read books about villains, and I think I've said this before. I'm not I'm not a celebration of the villain guy, other than Magneto. Magneto is my one exception. I am a fan of the Magneto character, and I believe Magneto is more than just a villain. I think he is anti-hero, but more villain than he is hero, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't put Magneto as some guy that's principled and just out for the right thing for everyone. In Magneto's mind is mutant kind and him. That first. Everybody else comes second to that. So I wouldn't put him obviously in a position or with the same ideology of somebody like a Peter Parker, right? He's trying to make sure everyone is taken care of. Is supremely principled. Captain America, supremely principled. A Boy Scout. That is not Magneto, and he is my one exception. I can read a book about Magneto if it's done well, obviously, but typically villains, I don't really do that. But this book and the art, let me go to this. Show you Matteo's Instagram page. Now, this is where I will give it to the Italians. They have been crushing it. Whatever art school they're going to, whoever they are training under is teaching them very well. The one thing I found with some artists today is they do not do proportions very well. Not all artists, obviously there's artists that are doing it well, but these Italians are crushing it. They are crushing it because my boy on Ultimate Spider-Man, Marco Cicchetto, my goodness, his art is gorgeous, beautiful. And this guy seems to be in that same vein, really doing proportions well. And you can see in the way he does the face, the neck, the shoulder area, how he displaces that very well. Like I said, very well proportioned. I've seen some artists where you can tell, okay, maybe you need a little more work. Maybe you need just a little more work before we put you on the main stage. And the way this was done, I'll show you some of the pages that I think were done well, where you see the Green Goblin in action doing his thing. And like I said, I have no idea where Marvel is going with this story, how exactly they're going to play all of this out. But man, I think well, let me put it this way. This could turn out to be a very well done event. I'm going to have to do some reading and find out what's going on. But here's where you can see some of the art. That panel from this artist here, Matteo. I was trying to remember his first name. And yeah, it was very, very, very tight. Even the story was very tight. The dialogue was good, and it kept you engaged throughout the entire book. Norman Osborn was able to keep you with, the mystery of the madness inside him. And the writers, I don't know if I mentioned, I did mention the writers, Ethan Parker and Griffin Sheridan. I guess they co-wrote this. Well done. I don't know much about them. I figured this out reading some books, and I'm gonna have to do some more digging into some of these artists. I'm biased. I'll keep it real. I typically stick with certain writers that I know have delivered over time. The inherent problem with that is there are newcomers that are doing a good job. They just may not be getting the light that other people are getting. And of course, you're going to have people that'll say, oh, no, I don't like him because he did this or he did that. Look, even the artists you like, writers and artists you like, at some point are going to do something that you don't like. That doesn't mean everything they do is bad. They just may have done this book right here that you're like, believe it or not, I've seen books. Now, the art wasn't bad, but I've seen books drawn by Jim Lee that I'm like, yeah, this book is just not for me. Even though Jim Lee's art was really good, but just the book itself, I was like, yeah, this is not his best work. I'm not really into it. And there's writers that I've picked up books saying, oh man, this is such and such. It's going to be good. And I'm like, it was okay. Everybody, every now and again, delivers something that's mediocre at best. And honestly, this is the mark of a really good artist, when they can deliver when they're so good that they can deliver something that is really good and really technical, but all of their other stuff is so good that you're like, this is okay. These Italian artists are very, very technical in the way they draw, and they're very precise in their proportions and their line work. And I've brought this up before, even if you've never drawn before, when something is not proportioned right, your eye catches that. You may not understand why you don't like an image, but a lot of times that's why. And artists who figure this out early on, man, they turn out to be very good artists. And I don't know how old this Matteo, what's his name, Matteo Della Fonte, I don't know how old he is, but he seems to be a newcomer to the comic book space. And man, he's doing a good job. I don't know if that's his age right there. It says 24. Maybe he's 24 years old. If so, man, I look forward to seeing more work from this guy. But yeah, this book is good. This book is good. And I'm guessing, I haven't looked into it, so maybe somebody knows about this run. You can mention something in the comments. Maybe there's going to be more bad guys that they do books like this for. I'm hoping this is not a one-shot, because I think I read somewhere that this may be a one-shot, but I don't think it can be, because the way this story ended, it left you not on a cliffhanger, but there's some questions left to be answered. And maybe this is going to tie in with other bad guys, showing what's going on in the overall story. This is a good job. I don't know what Marvel is up to, and I don't know if they're working on something that spans across all of their books. I don't know if that's going to be the maker or if that's just one thing, but they have a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of things they can do to bring back the excitement. Now, whether they'll do that or not, who knows? What I can tell you is this book, if you wanted to buy it, I would say story, very tight, very intriguing. It's not flashy, but it'll keep you entertained. The art, very good. Very good. Quality, technical. Everything is done in a way that you'll be like, okay, I'm going to continue reading this book. Colors are great. It feels like, I want to say it feels like a mix of Friday the 13th and Jason, maybe. Like it feels like, like Freddy and Jason mix. That's what Goblin kind of feels like in this book. That's what I was trying to get out. And it worked. It really worked for a guy that's not into horror. For this to be able to keep my attention, hey, kudos. Job well done.